Hi viewers, in this video I will talk about calculated measures, pivot table and HR dashboard. I have employee data in this table in 6 different columns, that is employee ID, gender, department, region, date of birth and hire date. This is basically a dummy data I have created for this video to develop an understanding how can we perform calculated measures and create pivot table and HR dashboard. So in this data, I'll be using the date of birth and hire date to perform different calculated measures. In this case, calculated measures are age, date of retirement, length of experience in years. I will also calculate length of experience in years, months, and days. And then I will also calculate the remaining years of service of employees, that is the years to retirement. So once I perform these measures, the data will look like this. I'll be using this data to create the pivot tables. Pivot tables can be used to filter and arrange the data in different ways. For instance, I have created pivot tables showing information about employees in terms of percentage of employees in different age groups. Then in the second column, you can see the number of employees in different regions. And in this third table, you can see the number of employees in the region, in different departments within the region. So this is how we can create the different pivot tables based on our requirements and on the data availability. So I will talk about in details about these tables in the second part of the video. In the third part of this video, I will create HR dashboard where you can visualize different reports about employee data in different ways. In this dashboard, you can see the key HR metrics and the distribution of employees in different departments, workforce age, and in terms of experience. The beauty of the dashboard is that you can visualize the information and filter data on just one click, and it will reflect changes in different reports simultaneously. For instance, if I click on this region, so you can see the changes in all the reports on this dashboard, right? I will talk about in detail about HR dashboards in the last part of this video. So now let's move to our datasheet where we will perform calculated measures. And our first calculated measure is age. Whereas we can calculate the age of employees by calculating the difference between the current date and the date of birth of employees. For this, I will have to have the current date. I introduced a column in it and name it as a current date. Right? And I use the today function, and this is my current date. I simply double click on here to copy the formula, and now I calculate the difference between the current date and the date of birth of employees to calculate the age. Equal sign, parenthesis start. This is the current date minus date of birth divided by 365 days. This is the age of employee, and this is the date format I need in numbers. For this, I click on here to convert this date format into the numbers, and this is 45.61, but I don't require the decimals, so I click here to remove the decimal places. I get this age in whole numbers. And now I click over here on the handle to copy the formula. Alright. And now we calculate the date of retirement of employees. For this, we use the formula equal sign, date, and we have 3 arguments: year, month, and day. First, year, date of birth, comma, month, F7, this is the reference, cell reference, comma, day, again F7, Whereas there is one supposition for the date of retirement that employees retire at the age of 60. So I add 60 to the argument, year argument, plus 60. And one more thing, that 60 years complete just one day before the date of birth of employees. So I subtract 1 from the day, and this will give us the date of retirement of employee. And now I simply double click here to copy the formula to calculate the date of retirement of all employees in the company. The next measure is length of experience of employees, whereas we can calculate the experience of employees by calculating the difference between the current date and the hire date. And for this we use a formula. This is a equal sign, the current date, parenthesis start, current date minus hire date divided by 365. This is the experience of employees, but this is in the date format, but we need in numbers. For this we can click on this arrow, or you can simply click Ctrl+1 to get this arrow and click on the tab number and click numbers, and I don't need any decimal, 0. Click OK. So you will get the number of years. Double click here to copy the formula to calculate the experience of all employees in the company. Whereas sometimes management is interested to know about the experience in years, months, and days. For this we use a formula, equal sign, dated if, parenthesis start. I use two dates, there's a current date and the hire date. First I will enter the hire date, that is G7, comma H7, that is a current date, comma quotes Y, quotes, parenthesis close, ampersand sign, years, ampersand sign, dated if, parenthesis start, G7, comma H7, comma quotes YM, parenthesis close, ampersand sign, months, ampersand sign, dated if into G7, H7, comma quotes MD. Person signed, and this is quotes and days. So this is the formula we have used over here to calculate the years, months, and experience, years, months, and days. I simply double click to copy the formula to find the length of experience of all the employees in years, months, and days. Similarly, we can find the remaining years of service, and that is the number of years to retirement. We can find out this number of years by calculating the difference between the current date and the date of retirement. For this we use a formula, that is equal sign, parenthesis start, J7, that is the date of retirement, minus current date, that is H7, divided by 365. Okay, this is the date format, and we convert this into the number format, and we can also use from here and click number, and this is a decimal. I don't need decimals, so click here to remove the decimals. This is the number of years that are remaining in service. Double click here to copy the formula, and this is how you can calculate the remaining years of service of employees. Whereas we can calculate the remaining years in years, months, and days. We will use a formula, dated if, as we have used earlier, dated if, and we will use the two dates, that is the date of retirement and the current date. The current date is H7, that is comma G7, J7, date of retirement is J7, comma quotes y quotes parenthesis close and percent sign So this is how we calculate the remaining service in years, months and days. Simply double click here to copy the formula. So viewers, this is how we have performed the calculated by years, and we have used these two dates, the date of birth and the hire date, to calculate all these measures. I will use this data for my pivot tables, but before that I will have to convert this data into Excel table. First of all, select the whole table, and then under the home tab click on format as table, right? Or you can simply click Ctrl+T, and you can click on any of these designs, and suppose I click over here. Now click OK. So this is now the Excel table, and now the data is ready for the pivot tables. In the next video, I will explain you how to create the pivot tables. Thank you for watching this video.